All right, so here we go with the setup of the back end or debt to income ratio formula. So what we're going to do, I've got some additional tabs down here, so we're going to pretend these don't exist. So in order to create a new one, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the little add button down here. And when it does that, you're going to see something called, it'll probably say sheet 2 for yours. And all we have to do is click here and say rename. And I am going to just name it back end and in parentheses debt to income ratio formula. I'm going to keep it as ratio because otherwise it'll duplicate it. So again, we're going to pretend this is not here. So this is what yours will look like. You'll have your front end ratio formula, which is right here, and then you have your back end debt to income ratio, which is blank. So in order to set this up, what this does is it gives us separate sheets or tabs, which is exactly what we want, because then we won't have to create a whole new spreadsheet file. We can do lots and lots of tabs down here. As a matter of fact, when you click here, it shows you all the tabs that I've created. You can also scroll this way and see it. So the more tabs you have, obviously, the more information that's in here. So what we're going to do, or sheets, I should say, it's not really tabs. These are tabs that represent links to sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the information from the front end ratio and bring it over to back end. So I'm going to highlight all of this stuff, and I don't have this as an assignment. This part right here is going to be extra credit for you. So I'm going to highlight this stuff right here. Control C is copy. And we're going to go over here and we're going to hit A1 and Control V is paste. So you see I've got it in there. I'm going to go ahead and stretch this out. Okay, we'll change this up in a minute. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to get my monthly gross income. Control C again for copy, and Control V is going to be paste. Now I'm going to stretch these out here by clicking on the bar between A and B column, and that looks pretty good there. So I've already set successfully, or should have already successfully set up all of this stuff from my last sheet. So I'm going to stretch this out. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my back end ratio. So back end ratio is monthly housing expenses divided by monthly gross income. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Just to keep it simple, for my time here on the video, I'm just going to copy this one, and I'm going to come to the one that I did for you guys. Here we go. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to change this to back end ratio monthly housing expenses divided by monthly gross income. And just remember that we're now, instead of just monthly housing expenses, we are actually I need to change that. It's not just monthly housing expenses, it's monthly housing expenses and debt divided by monthly gross income. So that's going to include things like car payments, things like that. So now on the back end ratio, I have mortgage payment, I have monthly car payment, and so on and so forth. So if I go back over here, I'm going to end up adding all this to ours. So again, we're going to pretend these guys don't exist. I've got to add stuff in here. So the easiest way to do that is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to cut it. So Control X, or you can go to up here to cut. And I'm going to bring this down to about here. I'm going to right click and paste. So now I've got lots of room. I'm going to change this while I'm here to remove that border line. So I'm going to go up here and make no borders, clear the borders. There we go. And now I'm going to add monthly car payment, monthly average credit, and other monthly payments. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save us time in the video, I'm going to paste all these in. So I just copied and pasted it over. So you're going to add these in there, and you can pause the video at this point. Other monthly payments like this. Now I'm going to show you one thing that's pretty cool. Let me cut this out here for 1 second. Normally, if you kept typing in here, it would not. It would kind of flow over. It wouldn't go underneath it or do a line break. What you do is you click there in the cell, Let me do that again. You click there and you hit Alt, A-L-T, which is right next to your space bar, and hit enter. And what it does is it drops that down. So now I can go ahead in here and I'm just going to paste this with Control V. So you'd type this in and that gives you a line break. Again, that was Alt and then enter, and that'll bring you right down with a second line. All right, so my monthly car payment, my monthly average, and my other monthly payments, I'm going to go ahead and click here and then grab this little blue box, and I'm going to drag that down. That fills all that in with that color, because I'm not interested in annual, I'm interested in monthly. So this is my annual column, this is monthly. So for our purposes here, we're going to go monthly is, let's say our mortgage payment is still $1,000, $500 for the car payment. We're going to go $1,500 for this, monthly average credit payments, and then other monthly payments will say $380. Now you can see that this is not set up as money, so I'm going to do this, to set it up as currency, and then I'm going to center it up, and that looks pretty good. All right, so now the total monthly expenses, we're going to change this up here. I'm going to clear these out with the borders, so we're going to clear that out, and I'm going to add a border right here. So I'm going to go there, click on the bottom border, and now I've got that nice line. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to cut it, Control X, and I'm going to paste it right here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to Control Z to undo. I'm going to cut it again, and I'm going to paste it in this one. That's what I want. All right. So now we have to click here, and then we're going to look at our formula. This is the sum from C4, which is this value right here, and I want it to go all the way to C9. So I'm going to modify this now to C9. Hit enter. All right, now everything in here that we change, so let's say my monthly car payment is $400. If I do that, now that's going to change. So everything in here that changes should now change along with it. 5,000, enter. We're in good shape. All right, my monthly gross income, I'm going to bring that up here. So I'm going to cut it, Control X for cut, and Control V is paste. There we go there. All right, so if I change this to 50,000, enter, that'll change too. Now, we need to do our front end ratio over here, which now becomes our back end ratio. So this will be back end ratio, and we need to redo our formula. So it's going to be total monthly expenses. We're going to change this to be expenses, not housing expenses. We're going to say monthly total expenses. So we'll just modify this a little bit. There we go. That's a good way to do it there. Oops. Okay, so total monthly expenses. So monthly expenses divided by monthly gross income. All right. So now we need to change this one. This will be the end of it. So we're going to take this amount here. So I want this to read C10, which it does, and now I'm going to divide that by C14. So whatever cell this is in, you need to change that. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to change this to C14. Hit enter, and now it gives me that 91%. So what I've done here is I've made this correct now for the back end ratio. Now the one thing we need to do is we need to change this to 36%, because that's what our back end ratio is. So what you're going to do is, again, just to recap, you're going to copy everything over from here and then reformat it to add these elements here. And then that'll allow us to change. So if we do it properly, we'll change our monthly car payment to $350, enter, and you can see that back end ratio changes because this changes. If I change my gross income to $75,000, then hit enter, that changes as well. So this is how you do the back end ratio, and then you would just resubmit this this spreadsheet for evaluation. Let me know if you have any questions.